Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey. Let's dive into some rumors around the Cowboys, some draft stuff, free agency and trades. And oh, look, let's begin with Dak Prescott for Deshaun Watson. That trade, it makes sense, right? It doesn't, actually. It's fake news. And it bothers me how this gets pushed out every single week, if not multiple times a week, by multiple different outlets. And I get it. You get to talk about the Cowboys and Deshaun Watson and Dak and all the clicks, right? There are some fundamental underlying issues here, namely from Dak's perspective. Because here's your problem. Why would Dak want to go to Houston? And I get it, you tag and trade Dak from off to the Texans, you get Deshaun Watson. If you're not going to pay Dak, that is by far your best outcome. But you can only trade Dak Prescott if he signs the franchise tag. He's not going to sign the tag so he can be traded anywhere. And why would Dak Prescott want to go to Houston? I mean, that is a disaster right now. There's no reason for Dak Prescott to want to go to play for the Texans. And the only way to make a Dak for Deshaun Watson trade happen is for Dak to play ball. Yeah, Houston could give him the contract he's been asking for from the Cowboys. So would like a good 7, 8, 10 teams right now, if not more, in free agency. Probably more than that, actually. So there's no reason for Dak to want to go to Houston. And in the end, look, these are the same caliber of players. They're both awesome. The complete percentage favors Deshaun Watson. The yards favor Dak. Dak probably does a better job of avoiding sacks. Deshaun Watson offers you a little bit more of the crazy, deep, big plays because he holds the ball too long. ESPN's QBR, which does factor in, by the way, level of competition, slightly favors Dak Prescott. You want to rank Deshaun over Dak? I don't have any problems with it. None whatsoever. They're the same tier. So it doesn't make sense for the Cowboys to not be able to trade Dak and then trade him somewhere else and then use all those picks, probably plus some more, because I don't trust the Cowboys to get a good trade for Dak Prescott. Do you guys? I don't. And then give it all up for Deshaun when you could just pay the guy you already know works really well on your organization and isn't throwing a media blitz to try and get himself out of his current spot, right? So pick a quarterback for me. Deshaun Watson or Dak Prescott. It's DW for Deshaun Watson, DP for Dak Prescott. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. If you get that ad break, scroll on down and get your votes in. Let's talk about cutting Anthony Brown now. I'm open to this idea. I'm not sure it's the path the Cowboys will choose. Depends on what else they can do. 2 stars on this one for me. Maybe, but we'll see, right? Now, Brown got paid last offseason by the Dallas Cowboys. He's by no means an elite corner, and frankly, he's probably best as a number 3, number 4, somewhere in that range. You could save up to $4.25 million if you make him that post-June 1st cut. The problem for the Cowboys is twofold. Number 1, Anthony Brown's coming off his worst year ever. Not what you want to hear after he just got paid last offseason, right? Did pick off 2 passes, but also allowed 3 scores, and when teams threw his way, they normally got a completion. The other problem is, who else do you have on this roster? Maurice Canady is going to come back, but who knows what kind of shape he's in after not being on an NFL team last year after opting out. Awuzie and Lewis are free agents. As gross as it is, Anthony Brown is your second best corner on your roster right now. So in the event that you could cut Brown and then go get somebody else, okay, I'm open to that idea. But what you can't do is just cut Anthony Brown and be like, oh, well, we'll figure out corner later. That's a really bad path to go if you're the Cowboys. So what do you want to do? I'm sure most of you want to cut him. Type K for keep Anthony Brown or type in C for cut. You are fully prepared to move on from the corner. Speaking of corners, quite a few of those on today's show, is Patrick Peterson, the team's number 1 priority in free agency, outside of Dak. 1 star. I actually don't agree. I understand the rationale behind it. I just think there's a different spot we'll get to in a minute. Now, Peterson would help this team. Don't get me wrong there. He would fit at corner or even maybe safety. But let's not forget, Patrick Peterson is no longer the player he was in his prime. Now, we also know one thing for certain about the NFL offseason. Every big-name player will somehow, some way get linked to the Cowboys, either for clicks or to drive up that player's interest on the open market because it's the Cowboys. So, is this the time the Cowboys finally pay somebody? Probably not. But maybe Patrick Peterson's willing to go to a place like Dallas where he can compete, and he wants out of Arizona. He's not the same guy, guys. He's not in his prime anymore, okay? But this is someone I think you should at least strongly consider and look out. In the end, though, I only gave it the 1 star because even though corner is a major need, with the way the draft is shaping up, I would rather devote my money to a defensive tackle. Get me a legitimate guy up in the middle who can stop the run, help get some pressure on the quarterback. Get me a legit defensive tackle. I do that, my linebackers play better, my corners might look a little bit better as well, and I can still find some corner help elsewhere in free agency or more likely during the NFL draft. So who is your number 1 realistic free agent target? Keep it realistic. Don't put in a player who's on a roster already, or Justin Simmons if you're not going to pay Dak, because there's no chance of that happening if you don't. Who is your number 1 realistic target? Let me know what you guys think. Now, it is almost Valentine's Day, and hopefully you guys aren't waiting until the last second like I know Mitchell Renz always does. Head over to chatsports.com/flowers. 15% off flowers, but also gifts when you use that URL. You can go with maybe some sweets. I don't know about you guys. I have a very bad sweet tooth. I just love candy and everything. If you get something along those lines for your wife, your girlfriend, significant other, whatever, you get some too. So it's a win-win, and you should probably do more than just flowers these days because flowers is like the bare minimum. So I'll put that link for you guys in the comments and in the description. It's chatsports.com/flowers. Another cornerback option here. How about Shaquill Griffin, the Seahawks corner? I'll give this one 2 stars. ESPN pegged Griffin as the best free agent, or the Cowboys as the best free agent fit for Griffin, which, okay, I get it. We know Griffin, coming from a Seahawks defense, fits what Dan Quinn wants to do at the cornerback spot. I'm not sure I'd call it the best fit because, again, money matters. And even though the Cowboys have been top 10 in each of the past 3 years when it comes to rolling over cap space, doesn't mean they like to spend big. And Griffin, at his age, even coming off not his best season, but it's comparable to Patrick Peterson's, and he's younger by a significant margin than Patrick Peterson, in a not great free agency class, I would anticipate getting paid a pretty good amount of money. Guess what the Cowboys don't like doing? Paying corners. Remember when it was, there's no way we could pay Byron Jones $13 million a year, and then he gets $16.5 to become the highest paid corner in the NFL, and now isn't even top 5? Yeah, I remember that too. I would wonder if Griffin approaches that $13 million threshold. I think there's at least a decent chance there. That's why it's only 2 stars. If the price is right, yes, I have interest. That means I take care of my corner need. I can go somewhere else on defense or even offensive line in round 1 instead. So let's say the money ends up being similar for both of these guys. Do you want the older, more experienced player, probably on the decline? Type P for Patrick Peterson. Or do you want the younger guy who maybe hasn't yet hit his peak? That's Shaquill Griffin, but also isn't as good right now, or at least hasn't been as good. That's Shaquill Griffin. Type in your G. Trade rumor now. How about trading for Geno Atkins? If you're subscribed, you know my answer, but we know how many of you who watch the show who aren't. 1 star. I just think it's not paying attention to contracts. Bleacher Report has pitched this several different times. People keep asking me, so I figured I'd bring it up again. Look, Atkins' time with the Bengals, it's over. Dude had 1 tackle last year because the Bengals were like, we don't want to play him. We'd rather go with the guys we signed off the street. The problem is Atkins has 2 years left at almost $25 million on his deal. The last time we saw him fully healthy, 2019, 4 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks. I don't want to pay over $12 million for that production. What makes more sense is just to wait for Geno Atkins to be cut. I don't think the Bengals find a trade partner. Now, maybe Atkins totally restructures his deal in a significant way. If so, okay, that's why it's the 1 star. And yes, he fills a need. I'm going to wait for him to be cut because I think there's a very real chance, if not majority chance, that's what ends up happening. But again, defensive tackle, it's an area I want to address. I just don't want to give up a draft pick and pay Geno Atkins that much money. That's not something that I am intrigued by at all, even if it would be probably like a 7th-round pick or a 6th-round pick, much like the Carlos Dunlap deal that you could get for him. But that contract cost, when I'm trying to find a way to pay Dak, even though it's really easy, that's not something that intrigues me all that much if I were the Cowboys. A draft rumor now. How about taking Tyson Campbell? 2 stars. This is the cornerback from Georgia. Dallas Morning News pegged him as a candidate. I'm open to it. He certainly fits the mold of what the Cowboys like under Dan Quinn and frankly have liked for several years now. He's long, he's athletic, and he fits that cover 3, some cover 1 style defense there. The problem is, despite his great size and athletic ability, you're banking on potential. The guy we saw at Georgia and have seen at Georgia is not what you're hoping to get because the production was I mean, this guy's got 1 INT and 10 pass breakups in his career. Everyone complained about Byron Jones. Byron had great ball skills in college. Campbell did not. I think the upside is there, but it might take a full year or more for Campbell to really become the guy we all hope he could be and probably could even be 2 or 3 years. He is not an option for me at number 10, not whatsoever. If he's there in round 2 and you don't take a cornerback in round 1, I'm open to that idea, but I don't think he's a top target for the Cowboys.